While having a plan is great, sticking to that plan can sometimes be counterproductive. Let's take an example from the book, The Alchemist. The book starts with the main character, a shepherd. He had these recurrent dreams about going to Egypt and finding this vast treasure chest of unlimited amounts of money and gold. So eventually, he was doing a drop off of his sheep's coats at a nearby city where he meets a guru of sorts, where this guy tells him that his dreams that he's been having are not just true, but he needs to follow them. So without a doubt, this guy, he sells all of his sheep, gets a bunch of gold, and starts traveling towards Egypt. Eventually he makes it to some city. When he makes it to that city, eventually he gets robbed for all the gold that he has, and he thinks that he needs to start all over. He's still very far away from Egypt, and he has no plan as to what he's going to do next. So he needs to find a job. Eventually, he finds a job at some shop where people make glassware or a bunch of different things. And from this shop, he ends up working there for a lot longer than he expected. But during his time, he ends up growing that business greatly to where they're producing and manufacturing much more glassware than they ever had before. After years gone by, he realized, you know what, I need to continue on to my personal journey and I need to find Egypt. So he leaves this very successful business that he helped grow and he starts going back on his voyage towards Egypt. During this time, a lot of wars were starting to start, and tensions were bumbling throughout the country. So he makes it to some oasis, which is supposed to be a peace-free and friendly neighborhood where you have to give up your weapons when you get there, because this is a strict no fighting policy that is there. He has a vision one of those nights that there is going to be a war, and someone is going to break the rules that no weapons are allowed, and they're going to be invaded. So he goes to the council leader and says, "Hey, I'm sorry, but you have to arm everybody because somebody's going to attack us." And the guys there say, "You know what? I believe you, but there's going to be risks and consequences to your actions. So if there is a war here and we get attacked, every one person that we kill, I will give you, or every 10 people that we kill, I will give you one piece of gold. But if there is no war within the next, I don't know, week or two, then I'm going to kill you." So what ends up happening is this massive war breaks out and they kill a bunch of people, and the main protagonist of the story makes a ton of money. The point of the story was that he still achieved that level of wealth that he desired, and he still got that treasure, but was not a quick trip to Egypt where he got it. It was a very long, prolonged period of struggles, and the way that he achieved it was wildly different than he possibly imagined. I think the main point of the story is that he had a plan that he was going to go to Egypt and find this treasure, but the point is that he didn't stick to it as greatly as he should have or needed to, because he still achieved that without even getting to Egypt.
No, it's an interesting thing. I mean, like, the number one corollary I would draw from that is you want to focus on ends, not necessarily the means. And if you want like a modern day analogy to this, I would say like going to educate or going to like a college would be like an excellent example of this. You know, people say, well, in the end, I want to have a good job so I can get a good paycheck, so I can live a good life, a good retirement, support a family, whatever, right? And the means to this end is I must go through education. That being said, I've got a very dismal take on the state of higher education. And Josh, I don't mean to speak for you, but you probably share my misgivings about it. But the point, though, is that the end goal is to be successful and be productive and be able to support yourself, and if you want, a family, and to be able, let's say, to retire comfortably. And to assume that there's only one road that leads to Rome is probably a very, very dangerous assumption. Now, there might be some roads that are more traveled than others, and some roads that just are downright perilous, and you probably shouldn't, transverse, even if the risks or even if the rewards might be very great. Yeah, you become like an international drug smuggler or gun runner. Yeah, you can probably make some serious bank, but there might be some other consequences down the line that otherwise outdo and offset those benefits.
Another one of the main points of the story is that he was continuously trying to pursue his best interest. During this time, he may have felt massive hardship and did not achieve the instant gratification of finding this vast treasure very quickly. It was through a long, hard process of continuously working and trying to better himself to where he can put himself in a position to get there. A lot of people today, especially myself included, you think that things come very quickly because we've lived in a world of instant gratification our entire lives. We've never had to experience prolonged periods of pain and hardship where it makes it easy to offset a lot of your mental obligations.
I guess in closing, I would just say the quip that comes to mind is the Lord works in mysterious ways. And even if, let's say, you want to get to an end goal, do not be surprised if the path that you take to get to that end goal, it takes a few twists and turns you didn't expect. I think the key is to be flexible and to take what life throws at you and to adjust when you need to adjust, but always staying true to whatever you want to achieve.
Yeah, that is not to say you have no plan, because no plan is definitely worse than having a plan and changing it, and as well as adapting to new information, which is probably the most important thing that you can do.